Star wideout Ja'Marr Chase showed up in street clothes for today's practice, did not participate. This comes, you see him right there, one day after head coach Zach Taylor said Chase would practice all week after the star wide receiver practice on both Sunday and Monday. So what's going on here, okay? He's still waiting for the deal, of course. Our Bengals reporter, Ben Baby, added this just moments ago. He said Zach Taylor says wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase is day to day. Added that Taylor probably, quote, put his foot in his mouth when speaking yesterday about Chase's availability. Adam, what more can you add?
Well, Laura, I think that the negotiations between these two sides are slow going right now. And I think Zach Taylor was enthused about the fact that Ja'Marr Chase had been back participating in practice, but those have only been walk-through practices. When he's practiced, it was all individual drills, not full-on practice. And this is a situation that has bared watching all training camp long and continues to bear watching. And you could tell today it was almost as if Ja'Marr Chase was trying to replace the narrative that Zach Taylor used yesterday. In fact, Zach Taylor yesterday was very confident and optimistic that Ja'Marr Chase would be practicing today, that he would be playing in week one. And Ja'Marr Chase almost made a statement of his own by showing up and not practicing today, as if to say, this narrative is not going to be dictated entirely by the Cincinnati Bengals, and clearly there still is an issue unless Ja'Marr Chase gets paid.
Yeah, you can just tell, well, if you read between the lines, you can just tell that this young man is very frustrated. Very frustrated. He knows that he doesn't have a whole lot of options here other than to just do exactly what he did, which was, look, I don't have any leverage. The only leverage, I don't have a Dak Prescott type of situation where I'm setting up for free agency next year where I could just walk and leave out of here. I'm on a one-year deal. He really, the only thing he can do is sit out and withhold services. And you just know that anybody who right now kind of like puts it out there in any way, shape, or form that this guy has no other choice but to play, he's going to push back against that. And this sounds like that. Like he goes, hey, you know what? You think I'm going to practice? Okay, watch this. I'm not practicing. I'm going to go out here in my street clothes. I'm going to watch you guys. Although it's probably a safe bet that, you wind up seeing him week one and you wind up seeing him play. It's got to be extremely, extremely frustrating for someone who's been so productive and they know that they need in order to get to where they want to get to.
And Lewis, I see it the exact same way you do. Like, it's very frustrating. He's a top 5 wide receiver, maybe top 3 wide receiver in the game of football. He's going to play for $1 million. And he knows that he's worth way more than that. And on top of that, you've seen the wide receiver market explode. CeeDee Lamb just got 136 M's over 4 years. But understand this, with this collective bargaining agreement, he's basically tied to Cincinnati for 2 more years. And we know what Mike Brown, and how Mike Brown decides to negotiate deals. So I think he's stuck. Now, the relationship between Burrow and Chase is such that Chase is not going to want to miss opening day with this partner because he's going to want to be out there. But even if he does, at a certain point, he's got to come in to get an accrued season. So, he really has no choice but to come and play. I feel for him, but this is not a decision that was made based on Ja'Marr Chase. This was a collectively bargained issue. The team that drafts you in the first round has a 4-year deal and a chance for a 5th-year option. And then they can franchise you 2 more years. So he has zero leverage whatsoever but to figure out a way to go to Mike Brown and say, hey, listen, are you going to do the right thing? I'll come out here, I'll show up. I may not give you my best, but if you will do the right thing for me, okay, T. Higgins is not going to be here most likely. Tyler Boyd is already gone. Everyone knows I am your wide receiver. Mike Brown, do the right thing. That's all he's asking, and he's pleading, and he's doing that through the media. He's doing that. He's doing it every way he can without ever saying a word. I just wonder if Mike Brown will listen, because this young man is crying out to Mike Brown to do the right thing, and Mike Brown is saying, hey, this is how we do business in Cincinnati. We're not doing anything different, and he's going to test this young man's resolve. I don't think it's right, but it's what the collective bargaining agreement says that he can do.
Boog, you said 136 M's, right? There's a lot of M&Ms going around right now at the wide receiver position. And you say he's got no leverage. I would disagree. Ja'Marr Chase can simply say, my back's bothering me. I don't think I can play week one. My hamstring's tight. I don't think I can play week one. And the Bengals will get that message if that's what he decides he wants to do. So he has leverage. He doesn't have as much leverage as he'd like to have, due to the collective bargaining agreement, having 2 years left in the contract. But nobody wants a
But
situation.
Shefty, how's that going to go over, though, Shefty? How is that going to go over if he starts talking about his hamstring or his back? Come on, like, players in the locker room understand the business.
Yeah,
you don't have to lie to us
Booger,
in order to kick it with us.
Players understand the business. Players also understand, to your point, that he's scheduled to make $1 million in base salary this year. He had a $3.8 million roster bonus. So he's going to make $4.8 million. So he's going to step out there right now when all those M's are out there and risk that. Has he been willing to do that this summer? Has he been willing to do it so far? Have we seen him practice once? Have we seen him do anything other than a walkthrough?
No, you're right. Look, the only leverage he has, which we have already said, is to withhold his services and figure out a way to continue pushing this out and pushing this out and pushing this out. Now, understand, look, the wide receiver room in Cincinnati is pretty darn strong. They've drafted pretty well. Okay, Jermaine Burton has looked pretty good. Andre Oshavas looks pretty good. Charlie Jones is pretty good. T. Higgins is pretty good. They've got a fleet of tight ends also, and they've got a quarterback who's pretty darn good. So look, I mean, for Cincinnati, this is going to be the epitome. This is right here. This is the very definition of the cat and mouse game that teams and players are going to play with each other, play with one another. When the team feels as though they have the leverage and the player only has one course of action, I'm going to hold out. Who's going to blink first?
You know what his leverage is? I believe that in week 2, the Cincinnati Bengals play the Kansas City Chiefs. That's his leverage.
Circle that one for sure. Either way, I think Boog brought up an important point, too, about the relationship with Burrow.
Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys signed former Jets, Ravens running back, Vikings running back Dalvin Cook to their practice squad with the intent that eventually they'll promote him to their active roster. He will complement running backs such as Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, have a chance to make a mark in Dallas. He stayed in shape. He believes he's in shape, and we'll see what kind of mark Dalvin Cook can make with the Dallas Cowboys, Laura.
Interesting depth. Speaking of the Cowboys, the news you broke earlier this week, Adam, was a CeeDee Lamb deal. 4 years, $136 million. That's where we focus. Now, Lamb back at practice. You see him out there getting ready for week 1 against the Browns. And CeeDee Lamb has been on the field for 95% of Dak Prescott's pass attempts in the last 2 seasons, including the playoffs. Prescott's total QBR dropped to 42 in that small sample size without Lamb in the game, compared to 72, 30-point difference when he's on the field. So Jerry Jones is actually still speaking to the media. This is happening right now. We're bringing you some of what he just said.
With CD being resolved now, how would you characterize your negotiations with Dak Prescott heading into the regular season opener?
That hasn't changed. So we're continuing to, first of all of us focus on what's coming up here in the next 10 days, 2 weeks, opening game. And that takes priority over anything. That's an area that is tricky. It's easy for me to say. I seem to have my better times when I'm dealing, frankly, in bad times, which are incentive areas to get out of the ditch, so to speak. And so it's easy to say, well, boy, when you don't know what's coming around the corner at the end of the week or end of the month or end of the year, then you give it your best. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It's usually a combination of what's in the best interest of the whole, in our case, the Dallas Cowboys, and what is needed to do to make a decision on the length and the incentive demand in the contract. And so it's somewhere in between. You've got to obviously look at the well-being of the team and the goals of the team. But where I can, I've always, in any area, put my associates, my running mate, in the case of a player, players, coaches, any time that I can incentivize them more, I do that. I believe in the carrot.
Well, I'm trying to make heads and tails of all that.
Man, somebody please tell me what Jerry said, because I have no idea.
Shefty, what is he doing? Okay, well, help us
The biggest thing that he said there was status quo on the Dak Prescott negotiations. Status quo,
right?
So they're not any closer today. And His focus seems to be on getting ready for the regular season opener against the Cleveland Browns. We'll see if the Dallas Cowboys can step forward and try to make any progress with Dak Prescott, who's entering the last year of a contract in which the Dallas Cowboys cannot place any sort of tag on him, and he will be allowed to hit the free agent market if he's not re-signed before then. So Jerry Jones has had a big week signing CeeDee Lamb, getting Dalvin Cook done, getting some deals done for this Dallas franchise, but the fact of the matter is Dak still is out there unsigned, and Jerry waxed some poetic about it right there.
It was poetic. That was something else. One of the things he waxed poetic about yesterday, Boog, or earlier today, he said this about Dak. He said, my thought sitting right here is we'll have Dak as the Cowboys quarterback in 2025 and beyond. I'm looking at having less supporting cast around him than he's had at any time in his career. He's going to have to make up for that. He's going to have to make up for that. And some because we haven't gotten to the games we want to be playing in. So, what do you think about Jerry kind of putting all that on Dak, saying, look, we may not have the best supporting cast, but Dak's going to have to make the best of it?
Well, Jerry said the obvious out loud, if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Kansas City couldn't afford Tyreek Hill and with everything that Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones, so they had to get rid of Tyreek Hill and reload. And guess what? Patrick Mahomes made them better, and they won 2 Super Bowls. So he's basically saying what we already know. When your quarterback is going to take up 17, 18, 19% of the cap, and he's going to make $55 to $60 million, he's got to make the players around him better. So I have zero problem with Jerry saying the obvious out loud. Some people may do and say, well, you can't not surround your franchise quarterback. Well, guess what? Tell the franchise quarterback he shouldn't be making all the money. At some point, you can't make all the money and do less work. He's got to do more work. When you make more money, you have to do more work. That's the great American. That's what happens in most places in America. The guy that makes all the money has to make the important decisions and do the toughest and hardest and most important work. And it's going to be no different when Dak Prescott. If Jerry Jones is basically going to say that Dak is going to be there 2025 and beyond, that means he's prepared to pay Dak's price. And it's probably, in my opinion, it should be no less than $60 million a year. When you're making $60 million a year, you better tote some more water than the guy that's making $5 million is toting.
Yeah, look, I mean, we understand that with great earnings comes great responsibility, a tremendous amount of impact that you are expected then to have on everyone else's performance. I mean, that's no big deal. I mean, I think what Jerry, what he's saying is this. Look, kind of some of the things that we've been talking about. I think he's looking around and he's going, okay, let's see here. I paid CD. The offensive line's coming together pretty well, which was a question mark. I mean, their rookie Tyler Guyton has looked fantastic. Tyler Smith has looked fantastic. The left side of the offensive line looks solid. We just added Dalvin Cook. We'll be able to put together a competitive group of running backs. So I think offensively, we'll be okay. On the defensive side, we've added some pieces at linebacker. We got to make sure the secondary is shored up and we can cover there. I think we'll be able to rush the passer. I'm going to take care of Micah. So I think right now he's saying, now, if I don't have Dak, what is my next best alternative? What is it? Even if I have, all this cap space, what am I going to do with what am I going to do? What am I going to do with CeeDee Lamb if I don't have somebody to throw him the football?
Yeah.
Why did I just pay him all the money I just paid him then? Why didn't I trade him, get a bunch of draft picks, reset this whole thing? Jerry doesn't want to reset. He doesn't have time to reset. He's not going to own this football team forever. He's not going to reset it right now. He knows what position he's in. He may not like it, but he's accepting it, which is, I got to pay it. I've got to pay it. He would just like, I'm sure, in his own mind to feel better about paying it, meaning Dak has one of those seasons where he takes him into the postseason, he elevates the team, and then he would probably go ahead and he would – exactly.
Yeah.
And he would hand him the check and be like, here, just write in your price.
Go
write
ahead,
in your
Adam.
price. Just go ahead.
You keep saying he's got to pay it, but guess what? It takes 2 to tango. Dak's got to take it too. And Dak has to be willing to take it knowing that he's going to hit the free agent market, or at least he's scheduled to.
But Adam, you know this. We all can be bought. We all can be
Why
bought.
does Adam know that?
You
know what, we're gonna leave there.
Dak can be bought too.
Spoken like a true entrepreneur, Louis Riddick. I love it.